Welcome to I'm Creation podcast.
So what we do is we show them is actually going back inside and coming into the joy and the inspiration, and automatically you end up making even more money while having a more balanced life.
We can create the life of fulfillment like this.
Too much shadow work, okay? Until they go from shadow work to shadow work to shadow work. It lasts for a few weeks or a month and they go back for another hit. Whatever choices you've made in life so far is what has led you to where you are right now. And doing more of the same is not going to change it. You don't have to work harder, make more money, prove yourself more to get somewhere new.
Achievement game.
Do a different game. People will just try to optimize their health, their focus, bulletproof coffee in the morning, fasting, keto diet, like all these things to kind of be in optimal state to go create. But that's actually still a lot of push energy. Those are healthy habits that I think people should have. So this is the 4 steps that you want to take to unlock your greatest achievement potential.
So valuable. And today we will take you on a journey to explore the path from the achievement to fulfillment, to the creation of hell yes life full of joy, freedom, abundance. And I think Jaymin is the best of the best person to talk about it. And I would love to ask you to introduce yourself so people will understand why I'm telling this.
Absolutely. All right. So I'm Jaymin Patel. I am the founder and lead coach of Everything is Possible, which is a transformational coaching company. And we work with mission-led entrepreneurs to help them live a life that's fully lived. What does that mean? I mean, specifically, we work with coaches, consultants, and experts to help them create more time for who and what they love in their life so that they can create even more money. And I think at some point people realize, okay, I can make so much money, and then there's a little bit of a hurdle, especially as an entrepreneur. And so what we do is we show them is actually going back inside and coming into the joy and the inspiration, and automatically you end up making even more money while having a more balanced life. So we help you avoid burnout. And I'm also the founder of Barrier Work. And Barrier Work is the modality that I've created and teach into the world of how to create a relationship with the barriers you face in life and be able to befriend them, have fun with them, know that they're always going to come, and to be prepared to know exactly what you need to do in order to get there. And so, I absolutely love it. In addition to that, I've written a few books, 8 books.
Few books, 8 books, 8 books. It's not few.
And I'm a speaker, and most importantly, the main thing I spend my time on each and every single day is that I'm a dad of 2 incredible boys and in a loving, conscious relationship with my wife, Ari.
Yeah, and I'm so inspired with your conscious relationship. It's amazing what you're doing together, like really for bringing this beauty, this conscious communication and relationship and tools to the world.
It's completely different than anything I would have imagined for myself. And the fact that we're doing it every day feels like we're just at the edge, and every day it's like, oh my gosh, there's more and more to see. So thank you for that.
Yes, and I prepared some questions.
Okay, bring them on.
Yes, I'm doing it. So, how successfully exit the achievement game and enter the fulfillment game? And what steps can people take to successfully transition?
That's a great question.
I know, I did my best.
So let me first talk about the achievement game and the fulfillment game.
So people can, listeners can understand what we are talking about.
So the achievement game is a game where you're constantly creating a lot of things. And so you might be this amazing achiever. And you're in the achievement game because you're creating more and then you create something amazing. But then you kind of feel like, oh, what do? I need to create something new. And so there's like a idea, then a real excitement to go and create. And then the achievement of that, and then a drop, and then why doesn't this feel as satisfying as I thought? Why isn't it as fulfilling as I imagined it would be a year ago or 6 months ago? What do I do next? How do I keep achieving? And so you get a lot done in the achievement game, but you're in a cycle where you're compelled to have to keep achieving more. And it never really seems to be enough. And this is a fun game for many people to play, especially those, who choose a path for themselves where they want to be challenged. So in the fulfillment game, you actually are creating from fulfillment, not for fulfillment. This is the difference. And so in the fulfillment game, you're actually focusing on fulfillment. And the way that I say it is, you want to create so much abundance in your life, in health, wealth, and love, that you cannot help but share it with others. It just overflows. And so in the fulfillment game, instead of trying to go create something and then receiving fulfillment from that process, you work on first feeling fulfilled and then letting that overflow into what you create. And what happens is that it accelerates what you create. You end up creating more, and you create it with more ease, and you enjoy a life that is incredible and inspiring you every day, and that all inspires the work that you do, and it actually creates a much bigger ripple effect. But most people, when they shift from the achievement game to the fulfillment game, have this, oh no, but I can't. I have to be pushing, I have to be working, I have to be proving. And when we can unwind that, then you can actually relax into the fulfillment game. And it's just such a beautiful way to live life. And it's not very uncommon for people to not only, like, say, double their business from $250,000 to $500,000, while also falling in love with a new partner that they're a better match for, while also taking on mountain biking or buying a new home. I mean, this happens very, very commonly when you switch over. It's just like, it's actually the biggest challenge is working on your receivership. How can you be with receiving so much when you already come from a place of fulfillment, because it feels like, oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yes.
And so the question for the achiever, those playing the achievement game, is, I'm successful, now what? And then the question in the fulfillment game is, wow, universe, even this?
How
is
it
the
can be
difference.
even better.
Yeah. So this is the difference between the two. Now, how do you transition from one to the other successfully? So if you want to transition from the achievement game into the fulfillment game, there's two big doorways. One is worthiness, and the other one is emotions. So when you can go through these two things, you'll actually find that these are the two, whatever issues, challenges, questions, concerns, curiosities people have about making this change, it will always narrow down into these two buckets. So this is where I do all of my work. It's specifically around working on the worthiness piece, which is really surprising for people because they're usually high achievers and high earners. So they feel like they're worthy of, a villa like this, living in paradise. But internally, there's actually a deeper layer that they haven't gotten to. Oftentimes, this is quite elusive. It's difficult to know what is that barrier, right? As we spoke about in barrier work, you cannot articulate it. And so everything feels good, but not great. Things feel a little bit numb or disconnected. And you're wondering, why am I not actually feeling happy about what's going on? That's actually a worthiness thing, right? And so it's kind of counterintuitive because you have so much that you're like feel so worthy, then you're not enjoying it. The ability to enjoy what you've created is worthiness. And so we go through that doorway. The second doorway is our emotions. Our emotions are actually much more stronger than we imagine them to be. Not the emotions we feel, but the sensations in our body that actually dictate our actions. And so I actually teach 4 layers of emotional mastery that up until this day I have not seen being taught all in one place. They've existed in different worlds of thought, different schools of wisdom, and I've traversed so many of them, and then I've put them together and I filled in the holes. And the very first layer here around emotions is to change our relationship to our emotions. So before we even get into mastering them, we actually need to create a new relationship with our emotions. So I'll give you an example. Anger. What are some stories you've heard about anger growing up?
Or that we can't be. I need to be a good girl. I can't have anger. I can't be angry.
Don't be an angry person.
Don't be angry.
Yeah.
You're a good girl. No, don't express your anger.
Your anger will hurt someone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, what if I just told you this as a pathway? What if it is incredibly healthy and powerful and okay to be angry, but it's not okay to let your anger hurt somebody else?
I love it.
Right?
I love it.
All of a sudden we actually separate two things that are actually separate that have been conflated.
Yeah.
Because we believe if we're angry, we will hurt someone.
Yeah.
And that's been stuck together. But they're two completely different things. And so I can be angry at my kids and show them my anger and healthily work through my anger while they witness me when it's not directed to them and not in a way that's going to hurt them. But they get the message and they see the emotions that I'm feeling and they get the real me. Right? And so most people will try to stuff it down and be this, or they'll just yell at their kids, or they'll go crazy, and or their partner, or whoever it might be, the stranger on the street. And so when we can actually re-relate to know it's okay to be angry, but it's not okay to let our anger hurt someone, all of a sudden we get the power to know, wow, so then how do I go be angry? How do I go healthily be angry? And how do I make sure that doesn't hurt someone? And now we can have an exploration, and that's part of the mastery of emotions. So you do this with every emotion that exists, and you re-relate and find freedom. You know, shame, one of my favorite emotions. This was an emotion that I avoided for decades of my life. When I felt shame about feeling shame, right? And now it's actually become my most favorite emotion because I understand why it's there and I understand how to respond to it. And we have a new relationship where I say, oh, I'm feeling shame. Okay, let me go into this. And then I get incredible wisdom from that. So this is the possibility that exists when you switch from the achievement game into the fulfillment game. But you've got to go through the two doorways, worthiness and emotions.
Yeah, I love it. I like, we should ask the teachers to tell us this at school. Then
Right?
we would be healthy people and create a healthy relationship.
There's a
This is what
reason
they
it's
need
not
to-
being taught, right? There's a reason
yes,
it's not being taught.
That is the reason.
But it's available to be learned as an adult.
Yes.
That is the actual benefit, right? Is that we can go through however many years, decades of our life, as I did as well, not understanding, and then looking back and saying, wow, I need to unlearn those things and relearn them this way. And when I relearn them this way, my life looks completely different. And I don't have to play the achievement game anymore.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we just need to be curious and see what is there and change the relationship. It's so easy, it's so simple things,
Yeah.
but we can create the life of fulfillment like this.
I'll tell you, the number one thing that surprises my clients is I just give them a new choice. It's a choice they just haven't seen.
Yeah.
They go, wait, I can do that? And I go, yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
And they go, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Because it's just not in the realm, right? We have a kind of way that we're used to understanding that things are done, but there's actually different ways.
Yeah.
And when we open our consciousness to the other ways, it shows up in the way we live our lives. And people say to me all the time, Jaymin, how do you do everything that you do? And I go, well, I just change my being. You know, I give myself different choices, and when I make those different choices, I get different results. So if whatever choices you've made in life so far is what has led you to where you are right now, and doing more of the same is not going to change it. You don't have to work harder, make more money, prove yourself more to get somewhere new. You need to
Achievement
actually
game.
do a different game.
Yeah.
And that's really what I stand for, is how do you play the different game that just isn't taught to us in schools, isn't corroborated by our peers, isn't celebrated, you know, in college and work and all these environments, but is actually always available to us if we're willing to move through the worthiness and the emotions to actually do it successfully.
Whew. Yes. How to unlock greatest achievement potential.
Beautiful. I love this
Can you
question.
give some, like, 5 tips, I don't know, to the audience so they can incorporate to their self-development routine?
Absolutely. So greatest achievement potential. This is very tied to what we just spoke about. Because to me, greatest achievement potential is how can you actually create the most? Now, if you were to ask 10 people, 100 people, how can you go and unlock your greatest achievement potential? You'll probably get answers like biohacking, diet, good sleep, like making myself a machine, you know, get greater clarity, greater focus, you know, getting a team of people to help support. Yes, all those things are going to make you more effective and efficient. Is that unlocking your greatest achievement potential? I would say maybe. right? People will just try to optimize their health, their focus, bulletproof coffee in the morning, fasting, keto diet, like all these things to kind of be in optimal state to go create. But that's actually still a lot of push energy. Those are healthy habits that I think people should have, but it's a lot of push energy. So to actually unlock your greatest achievement potential is to come in a place where it just feels like you can't move fast enough, right? And so in unlocking your greatest achievement potential, you actually are expanding your capacity and your capability for growth. That's it.
Yeah.
As you expand your capacity for growth and your capability to grow at a fast rate, what happens is as you grow, your achievement potential grows, which means the impact you make grows in line with it. And so when you just focus on your growth, which is way more fun and way less crazy, and you focus on that, then you actually unlock your greatest achievement potential because you're closer to source, right? And you're just kind of like you're moving from idea to implementation so much more quickly. You have more ideas because you're more inspired, right? And you're more inspired because you're growing so much and you're discovering all this newness. And the real point of this cycle is to just be able to be with it. But you need that capacity in yourself to be with that level of growth. You need to develop the capability to be with that level of growth. And when you're growing at that level, that's when you unlock your greatest achievement potential. So what are the ways to go and do that? Again, you've got to move through the stuff that you don't want to look at, ultimately, okay? And that's the heart of it all. When you look at the things you don't want to look at, you realize, wow, you're not too bad to look at, right? You're not as scary as I thought you were. And so that goes into doing, a lot of the worthiness and emotions work. So there's actually a kind of there's 4 areas in the fully lived method that I utilize. The very first one is that you've got to connect into like the potential of your future, which means you need to understand how your future operates and how to bring that more into the present, right? And so that is really work around manifestation, understanding that you are the creator of everything. It's really shifting your relationship to universe and time. And so this is actually in my fully lived program, the first module, entire month is spent on showing people like how powerful they really are in creating, and people go wild. Dude, they're just like, everything is incredible, like in 1 month, right? In 30 days, people are just like, I cannot believe what's happening in my life right now. In 30 days, it doesn't take a long time. So that's the first one. And then what happens is, okay, you learn all these things, and they live in different places. You want to find places where all the layers are together so they actually work, right? So once that begins to happen, the second layer is being connected into the power of the present. And that's being able to really drive the car. Like now that you've taken leadership of it and taking it where it needs to go. But the problem is that it can be overwhelming because now it feels like miracles are occurring every day. So much is happening. How do you actually be with that? So if you want to unlock your greatest achievement potential, not only do you need to harness the potential of your future and bring that in and really be in practice around manifesting and creating and literally every single moment understanding how you're creating, but then you have to, number 2, come into the power of presence to be with it all. This is where we expand what I call your receivership, your ability to receive what life has for you. This is where we move into our sovereignty. We do some archetypal activations of the king and the queen, understand boundaries, what's within your boundaries, what's not, what can you let go of, what relationships can you clean up, what's the languaging that you can use that will stop creating messes. At one point in my life, I had 4 partners, right? I was dating 4 women. And they were very deep, loving relationships. And most people say to me, Jaymin, I can barely handle 1 lover, right? How are you handling 4? And the thing is, we had no jealousy, no fights, right? We all really understood each other, and there's a deep, loving connection. Now, the reason that happened is because of my ability to communicate. It's my ability to tune into that person and speak in a way where I wasn't creating messes. If you really look at languaging today, and the way we're expected to communicate, how it's modeled in films or on TV or by our leaders, it actually just opens up messes that then we spend time cleaning up. And so if you change your languaging to conscious creator's language, which is what I call it, you actually are speaking in a way that doesn't make any mess and just starts actually cleaning up things and making it so potently clear that now you can just be in the present moment and you're just navigating. And it's like, wow, that's how you handle having four powerful women that you're with, and have them each feel so loved by you over a very long period of time. We're talking years here of relating together. So it wasn't just like a couple months of, oh, no, it was a deep, loving, connected, long-term relationship with multiple individuals involved. And so you can imagine the languaging that that's taught me in terms of how to actually communicate. So when I teach that to my clients, so that everything in their life clears up. So we clear up everything that's in the present that's junk, that we're wasting our time on, and that is one way to expand our receivership. And then I take them on abundance dates. So I'll bring them here to Bali. We'll go to the Kempinski, which is one of the most
I know.
amazing places on the planet. And we'll spend a weekend there of just giving to yourself and practicing that and the edges that come up. So that's the second step. Third step is now we come into the emotional mastery, right? Because now what's going to happen as you move through the process is you begin to say, oh, wow, like this feels like a lot, maybe I don't deserve this, or should we really be this easy? My nervous system is used to more stress, more pressure, more have to energy. Now it's not there. My system is not calibrating to this new level because now we're at 60 days in, right? So it's only 60 days, and all of a sudden your receivership has expanded. You don't have all the drama. You're creating more. So then in this next stage, it's the emotional mastery. This is where we get to be kind of doing a couple of different things. Number one, re-relating to our emotions. But then two, releasing charge of emotions as they're coming up. But number three, most importantly, doing emotional meditation. So I've created this way where you can just really understand how to be with all the emotions, and as they're moving through, they actually just become more friendly, and you realize like, okay, I can actually be with all these, because when we were younger we couldn't. Now I teach a way that you can be with all the emotions that didn't make sense when we were younger, so you can feel really fully in your adult. Now once you're equipped with all three of those things, you're ready for step number 4.
What is step number 4?
Step number 4 is where we go do the inner work on the inner child. This is where shadow work comes in. This is where a lot of work in the realm of reparenting ourselves, doing the healing journeys, understanding, and connecting with different aspects of ourselves, and truly coming in as a healer. Now here's the problem. Shadow work is great. So many people do shadow work. But some people fall into doing what I call TMSW. Too much shadow work. Okay, and so they go from shadow work to shadow work to shadow work. It lasts for a few weeks or a month, and they go back for another hit. Why? Because they actually haven't done the first 3 modules of this process to really become a fully mature adult, where they know how to create, they know how to clean up the messes, they know how to be with emotions. When they have all that, then those shadows that we carry with us, our little child, when we say, hey, I release you, you're free, I got this, they're going to be like, oh, I actually believe you. Whereas if you don't do those things, they're going to be like, okay, I'm going to give you a chance, but I'm going to be back in a few weeks if it doesn't work. And of course, inevitably, it doesn't work. So what I believe is shadow work is an important part of the process, but people do it without full capability, and you're just wasting your time. You're literally just going in there and getting a hit and a dosage that lasts for a few weeks. But when you do all the other steps first, the body actually sees you and says, wow, you're actually making different choices, right? You're actually doing something different. And so while we are moving around the world in adult bodies, we have child psychologies. We haven't yet switched that because we never learn it. So the important final step is to be able to have that all switched and then come to that little part of ourselves and say, check it out. I have so much more available to me right now that we didn't have when all this trauma, drama happened. Now check it out, I've got this. And it says, I trust you. This is how we build internal trust around what we can create, right? And so this is the 4 steps that you want to take to unlock your greatest achievement potential. And then move into mastery.
Thank you so much for sharing these tools. I think it's like really quite valuable tools, and
Yeah.
we should become more conscious about our
Exactly.
life, and this is what you are doing, this is what you are sharing. So to create the life of fulfillment, we need to be conscious.
You got to consciously choose. You
Yes.
got to be awake. You
Yeah.
got to know what you're choosing, why you're choosing it, and you got to use the tools, not just like, let me go to this workshop and do the thing and then I'm healed. No, it's like you've got to actually pragmatically look at it as how do you use all the tools together?
You inspired me really to check my emotions, my relationship with emotions.
Yeah.
Like I can feel that, okay, I want to build more healthy relationship with the emotions so I can really create a healthy relationship with the partner.
Right.
But first I need to do it by myself. So you inspired me. Thank you so much.
Great, right? And if you think about it, you can go to a retreat and hit pillows or whatever, you can do this
It's a great
emotional
tools.
release. But if you're doing this emotional release, but you haven't related to your emotions in a new way, there's just no context for that process, right? And so it's like there's a whole systematic way of taking the tools and putting them together,
Yeah.
right? And
This is a healthy way to put
the
the
healthy
tools
way.
together, not just to bring more and more and more and more tools into the life.
exactly. It's like which ones do you really need? What sequence do you need them in? And to what level do you use them, with efficacy to actually get the result?
Yeah.
And this is ultimately what my body of work is to just say, here is what took me 12 years, over $500,000 invested into working with coaches from all around the world, working with people in mainstream like Tony Robbins and Joe Dispenza, to people who are on the extremes, working with shamans, plant medicines, going into sexuality work, going into the church and religious institutions, and taking all of this together in one place, because I was the guy that never said no to something. I was like, let me go learn there. And seeing all the pieces and seeing what was missing in the middle, filling that in, using my engineer brain to put it into a sequence that gets a result. A sequence that gets a result. You just got to follow the process. And you can do it in 6 months.
I would invest money to come to you and learn it. Yeah. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much for sharing your tools, your wisdom. And I can really sit in here talking to you. I can really feel that you had such a great experience, that you gathered together into one big tool that can bring more consciousness to people and create this healthy relationship with themselves and
Yeah.
also with the partner.
So available.
Thank you. It's so available. The universe so abundant.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great joy.
We did it.